Yo, what up, G-Body homies? So, throwing a quick update at you. Not a lot to update, just I had mentioned before in my last video that I had a power steering line leak, and I went ahead and fixed it. And the day I did it, I was very busy, and I was kind of trying to get it done, so I didn't take the time to make a video. So I apologize for that, for people that actually wanted to see it. But I figured I'd give a quick rundown as to what I had to do to fix this stupid thing right here. So I'll start off with a line. I threw away the line that I pulled out of it, but I have an extra line. So what was happening was, with a PTFE line, you see the white plastic line inside there. That's a PTFE line. So it's like a compression fitting. So there is a brass fitting that slides over that line. And what had happened was, the last time I put it on, there was a wrinkle in the line. So when I pushed the fitting on, usually what I do is, it's kind of hard to get them on, so I'll put the brass fitting on there, and I'll kind of tap it on the workbench, you know, on a block of wood or something, to kind of work it on there. And what had happened was, obviously the plastic had wrinkled inside of there, so it wasn't sealing properly. And I saw that right when I pulled the line apart. So I went ahead and just cut a whole new line. I got like a 5-foot line when I ordered this stuff, so I had extra. So I went ahead and cut a new line and just completely rebuilt the line. When I put all the compression fittings on, I made sure that all of the fittings were properly seated. There was no wrinkling in that PTFE line, and on that fitting there is a lip inside of it. So I made sure that the PTFE was fully seated to that lip before I put it on the rest of the fitting. So then you have your collar that's already on, you put the compression fitting on, and then you slide the compression fitting onto the this end of the fitting, and then you bring your sleeve up, and then you tighten it all together, and you just tighten it down. One thing I have seen other people do is they'll take a piece of tape and they'll put it right here where my fingernail is. They'll just run it right along the lip of this fitting, or of the fitting. So they'll butt the tape up against that, not over the fitting, but up against it, so that when you're tightening it down, you can see how far that line pulls out, so that you can actually see if you're getting a good seat. I think when I did this, it was maybe a 64th to a 16th of an inch of how much it had pulled off. So that was nothing to worry about. Obviously, if you're getting like a good 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch even, you might want to try to redo that fitting, because I'm not sure if it's seated right. I do not know the proper amount that can pull off before it's considered not right. So just keep that in mind. That's just my knowings, what I've researched and what I've seen. So like I said, barely had any of the line pull out. I did tighten this all the way down as tight as it would go. And one other key thing when you're working with these Russell PowerFlex, I think they're PowerFlex power steering lines, you want to make sure you get the Russell fittings with the Russell line. These are specifically designed for this. They take the pressure, and also they do not swivel. These do not have a swivel head like these do. You can actually you can turn them. Everything will turn on these. These will not. These do not have a swivel end. So once you get this line together, before you tighten all the fittings down, you want to test fit this and make sure you have your fittings pointed in the right directions. Otherwise, you can get this on and you might have to loop the line around in a crazy direction to get it to bolt on. So just a tip, test fit before you tighten it down. Make sure you have the fittings in the right directions before you tighten down all the fittings. One other thing I had to do was, when I put this line on to begin with, it was really close to the engine block. So while I had it off, I went ahead and see the little lip that sticks out right there. I went ahead and ground down this casting where it meets the fitting. I ground it down a little bit so I had a little more room so that it wouldn't press on that fitting. I don't know if that was a factor as well. But now that's fixed. Everything is fixed. There's no leaking, and it's working great. So there's a rundown of what I did. Things to look for when you're putting together these lines. Same thing goes for all of the, all of your fuel lines and everything that is PTFE style. Just make sure you get a good seated fitting. Make sure you don't have any wrinkles in that line, and just overall make sure it's tight. So, all right, guys. Well, hopefully this helped you out, and I'll keep them coming as I'm, doing things that are actually interesting other than just farting around in the car. So, all right, y'all.